Hey, girlfriend, welcome back to the show. I'm so excited to share this episode with you. This is a chat that I had with D'Angelo, a good friend of mine, actually, good friend, mentor, makeup artist, D'Angelo Thompson, around 2 years ago. And I wanted to put this episode out on the podcast. I felt like the timing was in such alignment with everything going on right now, even though, again, this was recorded around 2 years ago. A lot of what he is saying is so relevant to right now. I want to say in advance, excuse the background noise. He was at a park, and then my son was actually homesick that day with the stomach flu. So we had a couple of interruptions. We're trying to edit them for the actual podcast. So hopefully you can still hear and it's still good. But the message within itself is such a powerful one. I really, really wanted to make sure to put this one out there for you guys to hear. Thank you in advance to D'Angelo for taking your time and energy to record this with us. Thank you for coming into the club. At this point, this was the club. This was before the community even launched. Taking the time away and doing that, knowing how busy you are and everything. Again, this was such a great conversation. Anytime I talk to D'Angelo, it's amazing. But this conversation in particular was really, really great for makeup artists. Again, especially with the climate that we're in right now. So I cannot wait to hear what you think. Let us know. And again, D'Angelo, thank you so much for taking time and energy to record this with us and for being one of our very first special guests within the club. I hope you enjoy Glow Friends. Until next time, when I shine, you shine, we shine together.
Cause you're a queen, yeah, you're a queen.
Hey, Glow Friends, you're listening to the Hey Glow Friend podcast with myself, Angelique Velez. This is a podcast with makeup entrepreneurs who want to be seen and supported on their entrepreneurial journey as makeup artists. With 20 years in the makeup industry, becoming the founder and CEO of Breakups to Makeup, I have learned that vulnerable and honest conversations about this industry is much needed. Let us keep you company with whatever you are enjoying doing today while you listen to this episode, because you don't have to glow alone. Welcome, everyone. We have our special guest of the month, the D'Angelo Thompson. And I know I was just prepping you a little bit, D'Angelo, but first and foremost, I want to say thank you so much for joining us here in the club. And thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. We can't wait to hear from you. We're super excited. So
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
of course. And one thing that I know the club members already know, but the special guests that I have come in normally have had such an impact on my life, which is why I want to bring them in. And so that way you can pour your goodness onto the club as well. But you in particular, honestly, D'Angelo, and I know I said it before, from the moment I met you, you have just been a shining light for me. And I know for so many artists around you as well.
Thank
So
you.
I just want to say thank you for everything that you do for us in the industry. Thank you for being such a, I don't even know what the right word is, but you're just such a great foundation. Like you're there as a mentor and you're always there with such, and a friend. Yes, yes, that's how you operate. And I feel like you're one that I can call you an OG in the industry because you are, and I hope that's okay. Like you've been around, but you're
34 years. Yes.
34.
Mhm.
Oh my God. Okay, we'll get there.
Okay.
But you always are so giving. Like I feel like competition isn't even a thing for you. Like from the moment I met you, I would love to talk about that because I know even when I started, I know things have changed a lot, but even when I started, that was like a big thing that I had to deal with was like that competition factor. Like it was horrible. I hated that. And you were
Me too.
never like that.
Yeah, me
Ever.
too. That's why I'm not like that because I don't like seeing it,
Yeah.
especially amongst artists and friends. And a lot of people I've known for 2 decades, some 3 decades.
Yeah.
But I've noticed how people move in industry and then sometimes it's not in the best light. So
Yes.
I am conscious of if I see a new face, I greet them, I welcome them. If I see something in their talent that I love, I'll refer them, out to other people. So it's about community, and I really mean that. When we say artists united, I truly mean that. I think a lot of people don't, but I've learned that it's better to have allies than not.
Yes. I agree. I
Mhm.
agree. Can you give us, for those that may not know who you are, which I think everyone on this call does, but just in case, just
Okay.
a little backstory of you and your story, how you became a makeup artist and all the things, because you're not only a makeup artist, like you're D'Angelo. You have so much going on. Let us know a little insight on that.
Angelique, one thing that I came to New York from Chicago in 1989 to go to school, to art school, and I went to Pratt Institute in Brooklyn, New York, and I was studying fashion merchandising and fine art. And as I was interning, like literally, I've always been a go-getter. So when I was interning while I was in school, I was like, oh, I don't like this part of the industry, but I do like fashion, I do like fine art, and I love beauty. How can I marry all of them? And it was makeup artistry. So I took that and started working in retail stores like Abraham and Strauss in downtown Brooklyn, A&S. And from there, I started doing photo shoots and then magazines. And I would say the first 10 years from like 18 to 28, I really focused on fashion. And then about, let's see what year would that been, when I moved to San Francisco in 1995, I started focusing more on expanding, television commercials. And I got my first big jobs through Sony TriStar, and they gave me an opportunity to do press junkets. And one of my first clients were Selma Hayek, Jamie Foxx, John Leguizamo, and the list goes on and on. And not realizing then what I was around, and seeing who they are now, it's like, wow, the universe was definitely setting me up to win.
Mhm.
And then from there, I moved back to New York and really dove in back into fashion, but also into TV and into film. And like you, I'm in the union, and that's been less than a decade now, about 8 years. And that's a different animal, and we can talk about that as well.
Yes, and we will because that was one thing that I definitely wanted to talk to you about, but we'll get
Yes.
there in a second if that's okay.
Oh, yeah, sure.
So starting that journey and seeing kind of where you are now, and I feel like you wear so many hats. How were you able to do that? Because you're an author as well.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
things that I know I'm missing about you too, because I know that you're not only doing makeup. Can you
Hmm.
talk to us a little bit about that and how you were able to transition through all these things throughout your career?
You know what I've learned as an artist and as a freelancer? We are multi-talented. Like I look at your business behind you, you're a businesswoman, you're a mother, you're an educator, you're a mentor, and we can be all those things. I think we're multi-dimensional beings. We're not just one-dimensional, just like I can only be an artist or I can only be a doctor. I actually know a doctor, a dear friend of mine, who can sing better than Whitney Houston, but she thought when she was very young that she could only follow this path as a medical professional. And it's sad to see her dream go. So
Mm-hmm.
it let me know at a very young age that really pour passion into the things that you love. Makeup is my breadwinner, I would say, but I am a creative. So yes, I am an author and I do produce, and I believe in many streams of revenue. So it's like a river, right? And so I want the river flowing from many different directions, pouring into one pot, and that vessel is you, or Alice, or myself, or whoever else is here to feed into that wholeness of who we are.
Mm-hmm. Can you
Yes.
go a little deeper into that? Because I feel like as
Hmm.
creatives, we struggle with that part, with
Hmm.
the idea of being able to wear so many hats because we have so many ideas happening all the time. And I agree with you. I think it's so important to have the different funnels coming in into your business,
Hmm.
especially revenue wise. Can you
Hmm.
talk just a little bit more about that and how you became comfortable with that?
Hmm. You have to really delegate, right? You got to know where your passion lies, and my passion lies in creativity and making, excuse my French, making shit happen, and not talking about it, but really being about it. So when I wanted to write books, it was always a thought in my mind. So when I would go on vacation, I would use that time to write. And then one trip in particular, I remember sitting at a cafe and I was writing and writing and writing. I was like, oh my God, I think a book is coming out of this. And that was my first book. And then 2 years later, I did my next one. And
Mm-hmm.
then now it becomes more of not a business, but I know a direction and what I want to write about. So I set aside the time to do it. You know, it's not
Yeah,
daily. It could be on the weekends. You just have to find the time to do it. And then
right.
sometimes it is overwhelming, as you know. It can be you got calls with different vendors and different companies, and you're interacting with different people. But find your tribe. Don't think you can do everything. And I think that's where a lot of us falter. We think we can do everything instead of getting a community of people like, oh, you're strong with this. Either let me hire you or become my business partner or whatever. You find people that are strong in each of those revenues that you can work with.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And there's something, a group I used to belong to, and they talked about you being the architect, right? And you're the architect, like you have your business, but you have to get soldiers to do different things, to execute different things for you. If someone's more tech savvy, that's their strength. So as the architect, you don't have to worry about that because you've given that strength over to someone else. You just have to just check in, make sure everything's going smoothly. And then if you have someone who does social media, that's their strength. You don't have to do it all. So that's how I do it. I don't do it all. I actually have my idea, I move forward, and then I find a team. And I believe in paying people. I don't believe in asking people for freebies or anything. So I also make sure energetically that money's flowing,
Hmm.
So that's
Yeah.
how I do it. Yeah.
And how long would you say it took you to find your team or still finding your team? Because that's something I know these are personal questions now, D'Angelo, that
Hmm.
I'm struggling with. It's really hard to find those people and to
It
be a leader in that
is.
aspect.
I can honestly say, and some of these artists, when I
Yeah,
had, DT Pro Crew, I had about
I
12 solid
remember.
artists, 12
Yeah.
solid artists that I had. And I would say out of the 12, maybe 10 are still like, we still talk, we still interact, we still pass work between each other. So you just find people that you gel with, that you trust, who has, integrity. And that's my thing. If I find that someone does something shady in business, most likely I will shift from them because
Hmm.
I'll warn you once or twice, but I'm not going to keep addressing an issue if you don't understand what loyalty is, or be patient and to know that your time will come.
Hmm.
So finding a community, yes, it is hard, but when you do, you hold them like family.
Yeah.
And then I think that's the best thing, and people do move on, and that's okay. There's so many young talented creatives out there fresh out of college that want to learn from people like us. So you take them in,
Hmm.
and before you know it, that could be the VP of your company, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
in
You never know.
7 to 10 years. You never know. So, yeah.
I love that.
Hmm.
I would love to talk a little bit about your idea of being a mentor in the industry because you are one. And like I said, you're a
Oh, wow. Thank you.
phenomenal one. Oh my gosh, yes, of course. And you're a phenomenal one.
Thank you.
How do you block all like the negativity and are able to pour into those mentors in the way that you do? Because in all honesty, you guys, side note, like I will be because we are both in the union, D'Angelo and I, so
Hmm.
I'll be on set with him maybe like once a year, if that, it'll happen, right? And that
Yeah.
one time I will be like, so I'll leave set just being like, I'm so glad the highlight was working with you, basically, like every
Thanks.
single time
I
it
love seeing you.
happens.
You know why, Angelique? Your eyes, you have such bright eyes and bright energy. And,
Oh,
and
thank
even when I
you.
met you at Makeup Designery, I saw that. I said, oh, she's not going to be here long. She's going to move on to something else. Because of the type of questions you were asking, I knew that
Oh,
this was leading you to something else, which eventually became your company, you
yeah,
know? And
yeah,
then, and just because of that, I would always like cheerlead. I'm like, people have bigger dreams than what we see
yeah.
oftentimes, and you have to really pour love into that. And how I do it for me is that I wake up every morning saying I'm grateful for at least 10 to 20 things, and I really do
Hmm.
practice gratitude. And then when people are negative on set, or any set, it could be TV, film, or fashion, whatever, I kind of move away if they're
Mm.
complaining, or I'll shift my energy like, okay, I hear what you're saying, but I'm not going to pour into this conversation about, oh, I'm tired, or oh, I'm not getting paid enough money, or all this doubt. We're human, we all have it, but we don't have to constantly pour into it, you know?
Hmm.
Even
Hmm.
now, there's a writer strike coming up, and only thing I'm hearing on set is this constant fear. And as
Yeah.
I'm hearing, I'm literally saying to myself, I don't receive that. I don't receive that. And I
Mm.
remember recently, last week, there was someone complaining about something on set about, oh, there's no work. And I was saying in my head, I don't receive that. I got 3 calls for future projects
Wow.
beyond, the deadline for the writer's strike because the movies are already written, the episodes are already written, so they're going to be shooting, you
Hmm.
know? So that's what I mean by you can't tap into that fear.
Right.
Yes.
And I don't even know how to phrase this question because first of all, the book that you have, it's 100 Days of Gratitude, correct? I
Correct.
have it.
Hmm.
It's in my
Thank
bedroom.
you.
Oh, of
Thank you.
course. Oh my gosh, we have
Wow.
that one, and Braylon has the children book, which is
Oh my
adorable.
goodness.
He loves it. So we're actually going to use it next week for his book report when he goes back to school.
Wow.
I'll let
Thank
you
you.
know when he
Can you
does. I'll send
share
you a
that
picture.
if that's okay?
Absolutely. Yes,
Wow.
I will
I
send a
love
picture.
that. Thank
So
you.
again, he's not feeling well. Otherwise, he would have, as soon as I
Oh,
mentioned his name, he would have ran back here with the book. But
it's really moving.
yeah, we will
Wow.
share it for sure. But how do I even phrase this question? Because I knew you before you wrote the book, right? So
Yes.
how did you get to that place, D'Angelo, of that serenity where you were able to get there and just block it out, like you're saying? Because I feel like I'm getting there, but it's so hard.
It's environment, Angelique. It's environment. And so I don't know if you know this. I moved to LA in December 2017. I
I
literally
vaguely
packed
recall.
up.
Mm-hmm.
I packed up and I knew that I was moving at the end of the year. And something happened that I don't want to get into it because this person may listen to your podcast. So I don't want to like throw her under the bus. But something happened professionally. And I thought, oh, wow, I don't want to be around energy like this. And long story short, I said, you know what? I've always wanted to live in LA. I'm going to take a break, whether it's 2 years, 4 years, 8 years, away from New York City full time. And so I moved to LA. It was December. And I remember getting into my apartment. I was exhausted. When I say exhausted, I slept for 3 weeks straight. That's how tired I was.
Wow.
So I know had I not done that, I would have gotten sick, like very sick, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And when I woke up in 2018, January, I was like, okay, let's get this apartment together. And I said something in my head. I was like, I need to furnish this apartment within 1 to 2 months. And you know how much money that takes to furnish an entire apartment. I just spoke it out to the universe. And within a matter of days, a client reached out to me and said, I would like for you to ghostwrite a training manual for a cosmetic company. I was like, oh, and it's a big one. And I was like, wow. I said, well, I'm not cheap. She's like, what's your number? I gave her a number. She's like, how would you like to be paid? I said, well, third up front, and then third, when I deliver the rough draft, and then the final when I deliver the final draft. And that sustained me for at least 6 to 8 months and also allowed me to write, you
Mm.
know? So I would be 2 weeks in LA, 2 weeks in New York, or a month in New York and a month in LA. And when I was in LA, I would wake up at 9, well, wake up at 7, but sit in front of my desk at 9 till 5 or 6 and write. And the book,
Wow.
3 books came within 2018. And I think that's what was going on. I was feeling very blocked here. I don't feel that anymore, but I felt very blocked here. And I needed to
Mm-hmm.
be in a new environment, new space. And it wasn't that I had new people around me. I literally would not see people for weeks and just go to a cafe and just grab a coffee and sit there for hours and write, you
That's
know.
beautiful.
So
Yeah.
finding the serenity, I would say it started really in 2018 because I chose me.
Right. Ugh,
You feel
that's
me?
so powerful.
You
Yeah.
know? Yes.
And
I
then when did
chose
you want him coming back? Like so you were there and you were going back and forth for a bit, right?
back and forth for 4.5 years, and I came back in New York full time last June for American Horror Story NYC with Milagros and Rachel. I work with them, which was
Yes.
beautiful. So I did that and then moved on to other projects after that. So this is home. I'm in Brooklyn full time and teaching. Wednesdays is my day I teach. I would love for you to come and talk to my class one day. Alice did a few weeks ago. Thank you,
He
Alice.
told us. Yes.
you know. So Wednesdays are kind of my break where I can teach for 3 hours and then focus on school. I'm in school full time as well, so it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah. What are you going to school for?
Psychology.
Oh my
Yes,
gosh. That's what I
yes.
have my degree in. I have my bachelor's in
Oh,
psychology and a minor in education. And then
that's
I have my
exactly.
master's in art therapy.
So I'm doing psychology. I'll be done at the end of this year, and then going for my
Congratulations.
master's of counseling in arts. So
Oh, I
thank
can
you,
totally see you doing that.
thank
Oh,
you,
that's amazing.
thank
Congratulations.
you, thank you.
So, where do you find the time to work? Like,
You know
how do
what?
you do it?
See, you're married. You have a child. I'm not married. I don't have children. That's why.
Okay. All right. Point taken. I literally just wrapped up a class with Babson. I was doing this college program. I
Oh
am
wow.
done, D'Angelo. I'm so tired. I'm like, why did I sign up for this? Like,
You
not
sound
like
like my
that, but I'm just
sister. My
so
sister does that.
tired. What happened? What'd you say?
My
Sorry.
sister's the same way. She's like, I'm done. Yes.
Done. Like done. Like I need this week off and then my poor baby's sick. So, but oh my gosh. Okay, sorry. Side note, always on a side tangent, I feel like, especially because I haven't seen you in so long. This always happens.
Really? Yes. Wow.
But one other thing that I wanted to talk about with you specifically, so I don't know if you even remember this, but I think it might have been in 2019 2019, or it might have been 2018 when you were coming back to New York. You were still living in LA at that
Mm-hmm.
moment, I think, when
Mm-hmm.
I saw you. We were on set together and I was talking to you about breakups to makeup. And then
Mm-hmm.
you were the one who told me about Joy
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mangano and
Yes.
her book. And you were like, you whipped it out because you had it with you and she's one of your clients.
Mm-hmm.
And you were
Mm-hmm.
like, you need to read this. You remind me of her so much. And I was like, okay, I will. And then 2 years later, I was on QVC, D'Angelo.
I
So
love
I don't
it.
even know if you like that sparked like
Wow.
this whole, which is why I always say you're such a magical unicorn because you
Wow.
literally got me on this thing. And you were also one of the first that really opened my mind to us as artists being mindful of who our clients are and what sets we're on, and how
Yes.
that almost
Mm-hmm.
gives us a little peek into what we're going to be going for, if that makes sense, like what our future projects almost.
Yes.
Can you
Yes.
talk about that a tiny bit? Because I know you and I had this conversation, so I don't know if that even you remember it,
I do.
but
Mm-hmm.
like that really opened my mind to so much.
You know, I'm gonna be very real with you guys.
Yeah,
I think we all have a third eye, right? We all can sense things about people and situations. And I remember you that day because we were out in the cold, I believe, in and outside,
I
and
think
you
so.
had this look on your face like, I am over this shit. That's the look, my fellow Torian.
Hey.
Not necessarily the work itself, but the indoor, outdoor, and the schlepping. You know
The
what I'm saying? The
schlepping.
schlepping. The schlepping part of our industry, I do not like, to be
Me
honest. You
neither.
know, so the being creative, so having clients that you can bring your expertise to, and they really love and appreciate what you do, is beautiful.
Yeah.
And in the midst of that, we have clients, right, that are business owners that own multi-million, billion-dollar companies. You hear calls going on as you're doing makeup. You
Mm-hmm.
know, they do charity work. They do a lot of things. This is a master class for you. And then when I say you, I mean for all of us, right?
Mm-hmm.
To learn from them and to
Mm.
use that knowledge in our own lives. You know. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I love that. And I love the whole masterclass concept of like just being aware of who you're around and the jobs that you in. Because once I started doing that, it was almost like, and I love the third eye that you're saying too, because it literally gave me almost like a glimpse into what was possible for my own career,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That we're
oddly
not
enough.
that we're not limited to just being, additionals on set or a key or a department head. There's more to us. And that's what I mean about the multidimensional. There are many artists that you and I know that are on set full time, but have other businesses running extremely well, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And that's the key. It's like you think like the actors, right? You have an actor on an episodic show and they're there 10 months, 6 months, but they also have their other businesses with. Why can't
Yeah.
we? Why can't we? You know?
No, absolutely. I agree.
You know.
So the other parts, Angel, that I would love to talk about in regards to that as well, because I know we spoke about the union, and I know that prior to you, because you've been in the union how long now?
Not long, probably about 8 years.
eight
Eight.
years.
Mm-hmm,
And I remember like we had a chat when I was working at Makeup Designer, actually,
mm-hmm.
when you came in and I had you talking to the students, we were talking about the union and how your perception of it was a little different back then, I feel like, and how
Yes.
it was something that you were like, I honestly don't want to do.
Mm-hmm,
So I
mm-hmm.
would love, if that's okay that I'm bringing this up.
Yeah,
I'm
it
sorry.
is.
Okay. All right.
No, I'm about Angelique. When I say I'm about being
Transparency.
real, I'm about
Okay.
being real.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So if we could talk about that and then like what changed your mind, like what was it, or let's just get into it.
Let you remember we talked about how you're around people and you realize they're not in your corner. They don't
Yes.
want you to win. So I was being advised by a few people not to join that were friends.
Mm.
And because I was always busy and I was working as a freelancer, they're like, well, why would you need to join a union? Not telling me that, as doing like commercials and things that I was doing, that had I been in a union, I would have been making much more when we got past 10 hours, past 12, past 14, past 16, which sometimes on commercials, those are the hours I was having.
Right.
Also, that I could have insurance, a pension, and all those things insurance especially, that I needed. Um, they're like, oh, you don't need to be in a union. You're doing fine.
Right.
And it got to a point, I remember one person telling me, and something in my gut told me, no, she doesn't want you in there because she don't want you to see the opportunities. you know.
Wow.
And once I joined, it was immediate. I got on one, I think I went to one or two union meetings. So many people exchanged numbers, and I was getting work right away, you
Right.
know.
Right.
And, thankful to Tisa at Law and Order, she booked me a lot, and other people that I knew already before I joined the union. And then even beyond that, my world just expanded, you know.
Right.
So I
Yeah.
think that's important. It really was about finding community and people who wanted you to win. And that's why I think my perspective changed. Because once I got in the union, I was like, wait, it's like I knew all these producers, and I was like, oh, I can actually department head a job or key a job, or have multiple things going on, still doing my non-union work and union work, because
Right.
people were telling me these things. You can't do both, which is not true.
Not
You can do
true.
non-union and union. They were saying, oh, there's so many fees involved. Yes, there are fees involved, but they're not huge. There's
Hmm.
such a small percentage, and a lot of it pays into other things that benefit us, you
Right.
know.
Right.
And then there are protections, legal protections that we have when we're in the union that you don't have when you're freelancing.
Right.
You don't have a big union or a lawyer to talk for you. You, as a freelancer, you have to hire that person to do that for you. You
Right.
know. So yeah.
Right. So
Hmm.
do you feel like it definitely, well, obviously you're saying it opened a lot of doors for you, but you
Hmm.
also do non-union work too,
Yeah. Hmm.
and you
So
still are able to do both.
yeah, I think it's about just balance, and you know, we know that we have to do a certain amount of days to get our insurance, so it continues to roll over
Right.
each year. So that's the main reason, and then another reason is it expands. You can do film, you can do TV, you name it, morning talk, news. So there's
Yeah.
so many avenues you can go, and the same thing with freelance too, because there's a
Yeah.
whole world of non-union that's really good pay. It's not like they don't pay you well, because
Yes.
because you do MTV and
Yeah.
a lot of different events, and I've been with MTV promos for a very long time.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's
Yes.
ways.
So how did, because I know you're talking about how you became an author and how you were able to spend the time writing and all of that. How did you find your way through that? Because again, that's like, as makeup, we're makeup artists. Like, not to say it like that, but how did you open those kind of doors? And you said you're 3 books in now.
Actually, no, 6 books in.
6 books. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness.
Like the your bags behind you, like those are book covers. Those are books, because those quotes mean something, and you can dive into those quotes more and just start writing essays and essays that can turn into paragraphs that can turn into a book, really. So you start with an idea, and you just take that idea and you run with it. And for me, initially it was about enhanced beauty. My thing, when I met Kevin Aquan many years ago, when he wrote his first book, I met him in San Francisco at Rizzoli. And when I went in, he was just incredibly kind, and he remembered me each time I came to see his. He's like, "Hi, D'Angelo." I'm like, "How does this man remember me?" We had only seen each other once, a year, and I thought it was incredibly sweet. But the main thing he always said, and especially in his first book, you can find beauty in everyone. You know, you can find beauty in everyone. So that's how I came up with the idea of enhanced beauty. It's like you are enhancing beauty. You are bringing out something in every single person. So that's what triggered my first 3 books: Enhanced Beauty for Teens, and Enhanced Beauty Men's Grooming. And then after that, I pivoted and I started thinking about gratitude, like working on multiple projects. It's like, I'm grateful that these ideas come. Angelique, I used to literally pray for God to take away my ideas because I had so many of them, you know? And what I learned to do is like, what really works? Oh, what really works and what doesn't. And I was like, obviously, I want to write, and I've always been a writer. So I was like, okay, what else do you want to share with the world? And the main thing was gratitude, because I started noticing back in like 2017, 2016, especially around the election, just how visceral and just angry everybody was. And I was like, yes, we do have problems in this country. However, there's a lot to be grateful for, because I've traveled the world a lot and I've seen a lot. I'm sure all of you have, depending on where you're from, whatever, you've seen a lot, and you know that we are really blessed here amongst, you know. So I was like, but what in the blessings I look at gratitude as one of them. Yeah. Being able to say, I'm grateful that, your son is home with you and you can hold him and make him feel better, right? I'm grateful that everyone's here on this podcast and that we can connect virtually, you know? So little things I think we walk through life that we can be grateful for that we don't even pay attention to, you know? So I sat down and I wrote that book, you know, and I wrote two, the children's book, and then there's another one called 365 Days of Gratitude. And I'll share with your audience and you can share within your community. It's a beauty, it's like affirmation cards, gratitude affirmation cards. I'll send that to you. They're free. There's 27 of them. Put it on your phone, your computer, and just click and just look at it, you know? So I'll
I
share that
love
with the
that.
community.
Thank you, D'Angelo. That's beautiful. And what we'll do too, because we're open, the community hasn't opened up yet. So this is the club portion. It's a long
Okay.
story, but the community
Okay.
is opening up this month. So
That's
I would
great.
love to have that for them, especially you being who you are. And I'll talk to you a little bit more about it off this call, because I,
Okay.
of
Okay.
course, want to invite you into it as well.
Okay.
But yeah, that would be beautiful. So thank you so much. And I love that perspective. And I feel like as artists, we really do need that, especially with everything going on right now, because I just feel like there's so much negativity everywhere. You want to go on the bed? Okay, I know. I'm sorry. So sorry, but there's so much negativity everywhere. So I
Mhm.
feel like switching it and changing that and looking at the positive and the gratitude really does help with that.
Yes.
So I
Mhm.
would love, love, love that.
Yes, I'll definitely share that. I'll send that via email.
Thank
And just
you.
share it as you will. It's like it's nothing. There's nothing attached to it. It's just a gift. Yes.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yes.
Thank you so much. So,
Yes.
what is next for you? What's going on with you currently? I know you just said the program that you're in.
Hmm. So right now, I'm just focused on getting through these shows. A lot of the shows that I'm working on, additional or day playing, they wrap next week, and then I have a project that starts the end of next this month. So I'll go do that for a month, and then I'm on a film for 3 months, June, July, August. And while I'm doing that, as you know, I'm in school, so finishing up school.
And
That's it.
but D'Angelo, literally, how like is it virtual your programs for school?
It's
Okay, because
100%
I'm like,
online. 100% online. But the
how?
thing
Okay,
is, once I go to grad school, I'm gonna have to be in the classroom at least 2 days a
yeah,
week. So I have to figure that out. And I've been
yeah.
thinking about that, and I know it'll all work out. And what I do, Angelique, like we can have long days, but I tell myself, no matter what time you get off, once you get home, you have to look at your book at least for an hour to 2 hours.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and once you do that, I have this just discipline, and then on Saturdays I have to take a test. Every Saturday morning, and once I'm done, I enjoy the rest of my day. And then in the afternoon on Sunday, I start school again. So I give myself a little block to like just decompress. So yeah.
I commend you so much. And I love that perspective too, because it can become very overwhelming.
Oh
So
yeah.
if I can ask you one other thing, D'Angelo, if that's
Mhm.
okay, and then we can wrap on that. But
Okay.
so I know because I've been in the industry like 20 years now, which is so crazy to say. I can't
Wow.
even. So
I've known you about 20 years.
yeah, no, because you
Wow.
knew me, yeah, seriously.
Wow.
And I see like the changes and what's been going on, which is why I created like this community, and I wanted something like this to exist, because I feel like a lot of people are just so lost. And we're all really trying to find our way in general in life. That's just how it is. But specifically for us, I feel like there's no book, there's nothing you can go to like, find answers. And that I don't think that will ever exist, to be honest. But I don't know, because I look at you and I feel like you're not that way, but I know that in some aspects you probably are, if that makes sense
Mhm.
within your
Mhm.
life.
Mhm.
So again, I don't even know if this is a question, but since I have you on the line, like,
Mhm.
what advice can you give to those that feel that way, that feel like they're trying to find their way, or they're pivoting, or um they might just feel lost right now?
I think I'm talking like a psychologist now, right?
Right.
And you study psychology, so you know this. It's okay to feel that, and it's also good to create a community, people that you trust, and work together and pass work between each other to expand your circle and even release certain things to artists. It's like, you know what, I don't want to do this, but it's a great client and a great job. Here you go. And
Mm,
then you'll be blessed. I think a lot of people, not only in our industry, but just in general, are operating on fear, anxiety,
yeah.
PTSD from the pandemic, and that's all normal. And I think a lot of people are pivoting. I know in our union, a lot of people are pivoting out of makeup completely. you
Yes,
know?
I
Yeah,
know. I
yeah.
know.
So, and like yourself, 20 years, 30 years for me, there are moments I think, okay, do I want to be schlepping at 60 one day? And the answer is no. I want to have my office and have my clients come in. And would I stop doing makeup completely? No, I will still do
Right.
certain projects, but I will do it in a very different way. So the key, I think, to answer your question is really figuring out what's next and to sit
Mhm.
with yourself and ask yourself what's next, what makes me happy. Also, declogging your life, taking the clutter out of your life,
Mhm.
going through your kit, throwing old things away, doing new projects. Sometimes those are free projects, like creating content, like we do for social media. Work with a photographer and a model that you're just doing exactly what you want to do. It's not client related. It's
Right.
just being creative. Because a lot of times when you're on sets, it's not as creative as most people think. You know, it's really just about getting the job done. The actor looks good, get them on set. You know, and that can be redundant as well. You know,
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
just keeping the artistry alive, listening to yourself, and if you have uncertainty, that's normal and that's okay. You know,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
sometimes you just need to get quiet. I'm like you were asking me, am I like that? Oh yes, I can get quiet and like literally spend a whole day with myself, go to a museum, walk around, and not utter a word.
Mhm.
You know, and not even having a lot of thoughts in my head. But you know what happens? Something magical happens
Mm.
because I'm not running around. Oh my God, I have to work, and have this like constant level of fear. And I try not to engage and be around energy like that, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it absolutely. And this just came to my mind. Like, honestly, D'Angelo, you're like one of the few friends of mine that's in the union who is not like that. Like, there's more people that, and sometimes when I'm working, I'm like, oh my gosh, they're giving me anxiety because they're just like, do this, do that. I'm like, okay, okay. Like, you're the exact opposite, which is why it's such a pleasure to work with you because it's a calm environment. Like, I know
Yeah.
it's just no matter what's going on around us, it's like it doesn't matter. Like we're okay. We're here.
We're
That's
not saving. We're not, curing cancer. So I'm like,
right.
calm down. What's also, I have to say this, having your community, like I'm good friends with a lot of artists. And when I say good friends, we sit down, we break bread together, and we have honest talk. Like, for instance, I don't want to get too personal, but one friend left a job and he negotiated so well with that contract. So when the next person got it, they walked into a really good situation. And then when that person can't do it, she refers someone else. So talking to him about negotiating when you're on a union job, that you don't have to just accept scale. You can go $10, $20, sometimes $30 above scale,
Mhm.
and plus a guarantee, which pushes you from 150K a year to over 200 or higher. You
Right.
know, if you value yourself, and but it takes talking to your. Don't be afraid to talk money. Is my point. You know,
Yeah.
I've learned that from a lot of people when I'm like, well, what did you get on this job? And they're very honest. I was on a job once, and I'll probably close with this. I was talking to a friend. We were on a Food Network job together, and I had two of the top execs at the Food Network that I was in charge of. And then there were other artists there in charge of one chef. My one friend said, "Oh, D'Angelo, what's your rate?" And I know her very well, and I knew it wasn't coming from just being nosy. I knew she was asking me out of concern. I said, well, this is what I'm getting, and I saw her face. She didn't have to tell me anything else. I just saw her face. I was like, wait, what? I was like, tell me what's up. She's like, we're making about $500 more than you a day. Uh
Wow.
huh. Uh-huh.
And this was a
And
fellow makeup. This was who did you say it was? Another makeup artist.
so there was about seven of us on set. I had two people, one male, one female, and they all had one person each. And not to toot my own horn, but I had many more accolades than any of them.
Hmm.
More experience, more, by then I'd won an Emmy, had nominations. And I thought, what? I'm not going to say any curse
Yeah,
words, but I was like,
yeah,
wait,
no.
like, what the hell,
Yeah.
So it almost sent me into a spiral, but I caught myself and I was like, do a good job, think about this, but you are going to approach the producer and ask her why. you know?
Hmm.
So about a day or two later, I was calm So I'm letting you know I can get heated too. But
Right,
I
right.
calmed myself down, and then I said to her, I said, "Oh, can I talk to you a sec?" And I was smiling, and she came over, so I had her off guard, and I said, I, I said, I understand that everyone else is getting a higher rate than me, considerably higher. I said, I'm responsible for two executives of the company, and we're all doing the same work, if not more. I
Mm-hmm.
said, so can you explain to me why they're getting this amount and I'm getting this amount? She was stumbling over her words, because she couldn't
Mm-hmm.
find the answer. And I took a mental note, and she's like, well, I'll make it up to you next season. I thought to myself, who makes you think I'm going to be here next season? You
Yeah.
know? And I did tell one of the key execs, because she and I are close. I said, hey, I just want you to know what transpired. I'm really upset. you know Talk about income equality. There were so many things discrimination wise that was around it, and I'm not a person to scream discrimination or race.
Right.
I don't vibe like that, but it was so apparent to me that something was really off you
Yeah.
know and I
Yeah.
talk about it because I think it's important for us as artists to talk to each other. you
Yeah.
know if
Absolutely.
someone's telling you, oh, you guys are getting the same rate, and then it's a lie, then someone has to be accountable for that lie. you
Yes.
know yeah.
Absolutely.
And I don't think I've worked for them since, because I was like, after that, I was like, and I'd worked with them for 10 years,
Wow.
freelancing. And I was,
Yeah.
after that, I was like, you know what? I had some really shady experiences with your production companies, and I just can't do it, you
Yes.
know?
You cut ties.
So, yeah, and that's the thing I want to leave you guys with. It's okay to say no. It's
Mhm.
okay to close doors. You close it in an amicable way. You don't slam it,
Right.
but you can blow it up
Yeah.
where you don't have
Yes.
where you don't have to walk backwards. You just move forward into new, and other blessings came where I was getting double the money. You
Yes.
know, so
Absolutely.
there's ways to make it work. You know,
Thank you. Thank you
so
so much for
I'm at the park,
sharing. No,
so you
I love
guys
that
can
was beautiful.
send them
No,
some
it's beautiful. I love the park. Oh, thank you.
yes.
D'Angelo, thank you so much for sharing and giving
Thank
us a
you.
little insight into your life and how you are. And I'm so glad the club members are able to see because this is him all the time. Like, I'm not even like, I know Alice knows, like, this is him all the time. It's so cool and I love it. And
Thank
thank you for
you.
being so honest and transparent and vulnerable and all the things. And we were
Thank you.
so grateful to have you. So thank you.
Thank you, Angelique. Thank you, Alice. Thank you
Word.
all for being here. And reach out if you have any questions. I'm there to give it to you. So just reach out. I'm here, honey.
Thank you, D'Angelo. I really appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Thank you.